They called my yacht unauthorized and ordered it destroyed over a slip I've kept for 15 years. I don't even live in their neighborhood. That boat was the last piece of my late wife, Sarah, our promise to keep sailing together. And Brenda Hutchinson crushed it like it was worthless scrap. The stench of diesel and shattered fiberglass hit me first, then the rage. 5 years of memories ground into debris while neighbors watched from behind curtains like I might explode. Maybe I should. Here's what this power-hungry Karen didn't bother check. I don't rent this slip. I own the entire marina. All 89 slips, the docks, even the parking lot where her precious BMW sits. What would you do if someone destroyed your home while you were working? Where are you watching from? Because Brenda just made an $80,000 mistake that's about to cost her everything. Let me back up and explain how we got here, because this story has more layers than Brenda's foundation makeup. I'm Marcus Steinberg, retired Navy engineer turned marine electronics consultant. After 20 years fixing sonar systems on destroyers, I thought civilian life would be peaceful. Then I met Sarah, and peaceful became perfect. She had this laugh that could carry across the water on a still morning, the kind that makes you forget the Navy ever happened. In 2008, Sarah and I bought Pelican Bay Marina as an investment. 99 slips, a small office building, and 40 acres of prime waterfront in Clearwater, Florida, for $1.2 million, every penny we had. Sarah called it our floating retirement plan. The gentle creak of dock lines and the morning breeze became our new reveille, and the smell of salt air mixed with her coffee made every dawn feel like a gift. Here's the thing about owning a marina. Most people assume you're just another boat owner paying slip fees. We liked it that way. No drama, no politics, just us and the water. The texture of weathered teak railings under my palms felt more like home than any house ever had. Sarah passed 3 years ago. Cancer, quick and cruel. The boat became my sanctuary, where I could still hear her voice in those wind chimes she hung in the cockpit. Every morning I'd sit there with coffee, listening to dolphins splash while our chimes played our old song. But apparently keeping a low profile makes you a target for people like Brenda Hutchinson. Brenda moved into the Sunset Palms condos in 2019 and immediately got herself elected HOA president. Picture this. Real estate agent meets power-hungry soccer mom, drives a white BMW with blessed license plates, carries a leather portfolio like she's negotiating nuclear treaties. The sound of her manicured nails clicking on that damn clipboard became the marina's new irritating soundtrack. When the Sunset Palms development went up, Brenda's lawyer buddy filed papers claiming the HOA had emergency management jurisdiction over my marina. Problem was, Brenda knew exactly who owned what. She'd done her homework, seen the county records, knew she was messing with the actual property owner. I could have stopped this day one. One phone call to my attorney, flash the deed, game over. But Sarah always said, give people enough rope to hang themselves, honey. Military training taught me patience, and watching Brenda operate taught me she was building her own gallows with every bogus citation. For 2 years, I played the confused boat owner while documenting everything. Every violation notice went into Sarah's old recipe box, alphabetized by date, because she would have laughed at my Navy precision. Brenda thought she was slowly strangling some helpless old veteran who didn't understand proper procedures. Her systematic harassment targeted all 8 liveaboards in my marina. Monthly compliance checks for hanging laundry or potted plants. Retired teacher Janet Kowalski got fined for bird feeders. Coast Guard veteran Bob Fletcher got cited for excessive shore power usage. Apparently, his CPAP machine violated some imaginary regulation. Each violation notice was another fraud count I could use later. Cheap paper with official-sounding language backed by completely bogus authority. Here's what made this war. Brenda had a secret deal with Bayside Development to sell my marina for $2.3 million. She was planning to steal my property and pocket a finder's fee. Her strategy, eliminate liveaboards through harassment, then claim the marina was available for luxury yacht club conversion. While I was in Miami upgrading Coast Guard sonar systems, she held an emergency meeting and voted to destroy my boat as a safety hazard. The demolition crew arrived at dawn with official-looking paperwork. 20 years of memories fed into a wood chipper while Brenda watched from her BMW, probably texting her developer friends that the residential problem was solved. She thought destroying my boat eliminated her ownership problem. What she actually did was commit federal destruction of property while attempting to steal a Marina from a patient Navy engineer who'd been documenting her crimes for 2 solid years. So there I am, standing on the dock where my home used to float, watching pieces of my life drift away like expensive confetti. The acrid smell of hydraulic fluid mixed with shattered fiberglass burns my throat. Smells like someone bombed a boat dealership. My neighbor Janet Kowalski comes rushing over from her sailboat, still in her bathrobe and fuzzy slippers. "Marcus, I'm so sorry. They wouldn't let any of us stop them. Said it was official HOA business." Janet's a retired 3rd-grade teacher who's lived on her 35-footer for 12 years. She's got that teacher voice that could stop a classroom riot, but apparently not a demolition crew with fake paperwork. The Marina office manager, Tommy Rodriguez, shuffles over, looking like he'd rather explain quantum physics to a goldfish. "Marcus, man, I had to comply. They had official documents, emergency authorization. My hands were tied." He shows me the paperwork. Impressive HOA letterhead, legal-sounding language, complete fabrication. Someone put real effort into this fraud. I play my part perfectly. Shocked victim, confused boat owner who doesn't understand how this terrible mistake could happen. Inside, my military training is cataloging evidence like a crime scene photographer. Every piece of floating debris gets documented with timestamp photos. The sound of empty dock lines slapping against pilings where my boat used to be echoes like a funeral bell. Exactly the dramatic touch Brenda was probably hoping for. But while I'm playing devastated victim, something catches my eye in the Marina office. Tommy's got all the slip contracts posted on a bulletin board, and I notice the newer residents have standard rental agreements. But mixed in with those are a few older contracts that look different. Ownership terminology instead of rental language. That's when I remember something my old Navy legal officer once told me about Marina property rights. Back in the day, many marinas sold slips as real property, like condos, but people assume they're just renting space. I start asking casual questions while pretending to look for temporary slip options. Turns out 3 other liveaboards have contracts similar to mine, dating back to the original Marina development. They bought their slips as property, but never realized what that meant legally. Brenda's been treating property owners like renters, collecting fees for services she has no authority to provide. This isn't just harassment. It's systematic fraud on a much bigger scale than I thought. And I've been letting her dig the hole deeper for 2 years. Janet offers her sailboats, guest berth. It's not much, but you're welcome to stay until you figure out your next move. I accept graciously, playing the grateful victim, while internally calculating how this community support will look to federal investigators later. Nothing builds a civil rights case like documented community sympathy for harassment victims. The demolition company turns out to be Professional Marine Services, Brenda's cousin's outfit from Tampa. They arrived with work orders that looked legitimate enough to fool my neighbors, complete with fake emergency signatures. But now I see the family business angle. This is an incompetent HOA overreach. It's organized fraud with demolition services provided by relatives. That evening, cramped in Janet's guest bunk that's clearly designed for someone under 5'6", I start my counterattack. Police report for property destruction. Building the paper trail. Insurance company call. Though I know HOA demolition isn't covered. Maritime attorney Sarah Reagan gets a call too, recommended by my old Jacksonville Navy buddy who dealt with similar property disputes. The funny part, I'm sleeping in a bunk surrounded by Janet's ceramic lighthouse collection while technically being the landlord of the woman who's harassing both of us. Janet apologizes for the tight quarters, and I tell her not to worry. I've slept in destroyer engine rooms that were louder and smaller, but those didn't have hand-sewn nautical quilts and motivational anchor quotes everywhere. By week's end, I organize an informal coffee clatch with the other liveaboards. We start comparing violation notices and harassment patterns over Janet's surprisingly good galley coffee. Bob Fletcher, the retired Coast Guard guy, mentioned something interesting about his HOA statements. Line items for Marina management services that don't match any actual services received. That's when the pieces click. Brenda isn't just harassing us for fun. She's billing the HOA for managing property she doesn't own, creating a shell company to embezzle fees while systematically eliminating the residents who might question her authority. Every day she lets me document her harassment is another day she's building my federal case. The sound of my footsteps echoing differently on the dock without my boat's familiar creak becomes my daily reminder that this is personal now, but it's also strategic. Brenda eliminated her biggest problem, or so she thinks. What she actually did was unite her victims under the leadership of a patient Navy engineer with legal resources and 2 years' worth of documented evidence. And so it went week after week, month after month. Brenda escalated. New security systems that locked out the actual owner, certified letters threatening residents who helped me, fake police reports claiming I threatened her, even a staged midnight burglary of the office to destroy ownership documents. Every move added another layer to the case. Mail fraud, wire fraud, evidence tampering, bribery of county officials, attempted perjury, civil rights violations, conspiracy to commit grand theft. I moved to a mainland motel to protect Janet from the fines. The 45-minute drive became strategy time. Highway noise replaced water sounds. Hotel air freshener instead of salt air. Plastic key cards where boat keys used to be. Every sensory reminder of displacement fueled my resolve. 3 months later, the evidence was complete. Federal agents from the FBI, postal inspectors, IRS Criminal Division, and DOJ Civil Rights Division were positioned. The quarterly HOA meeting became the stage. Brenda took the podium with the confidence of someone who thought she was about to close a perfect crime. She spread Marina sale documents across the table and announced the $2.3 million deal with Bayside Development would fund community improvements while permanently resolving residential complications. I requested floor time. The room went quiet as I walked to the podium with my evidence folder. First, I projected my 2008 deed. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Brenda, you've been harassing residents and embezzling funds on property that belongs to me. Bob Fletcher followed with forensic accounting slides showing $127,000 funneled to Brenda's shell company. Jennifer Walsh stood and called out the federal postal inspector. Monica Rodriguez rose from the audience, badge visible. Federal agents moved in. Handcuffs clicked. Cameras rolled. I've been letting you commit federal crimes on my own property for 3 years, Brenda. You wanted to steal a marina. Too bad you picked the owner's boat to demolish first. The community erupted in applause as 3 years of systematic harassment ended with a federal arrest. 6 months later, I'm sitting on the deck of my new 45-footer, Sarah's Justice, watching sunrise paint Pelican Bay Marina in golden light. The same marina I've owned for 15 years, where I can finally live in peace. Brenda pleaded guilty, 5 years in federal prison and $200,000 in restitution. The county officials she bribed faced their own trials. Bayside Development canceled all Florida operations. We turned the nightmare into something better. The Marina Community Foundation was launched with recovered funds. Scholarships for marine technology students. Janet became the first elected Marina president in our new resident cooperative. Transparent Finance. No more harassment. Solar panels, manatee protection zones, a sailing club for underprivileged kids. Every weekend, I watched 12-year-olds learn to sail where my old boat once floated in pieces. Their laughter carries across the same water where Brenda once conducted her campaigns. I kept one piece of debris from the destroyed boat, a section of teak railing Sarah used to grip during rough weather. It's mounted in my new galley as a reminder that sometimes you have to let people reveal their true character before you can deal with them effectively. Strategic patience isn't weakness disguised as strength. It's strength that looks like weakness until it becomes overwhelming justice. The Marina community is stronger now than before. Monthly potlucks on the dock. Boat dogs. A social club for pet owners. Security that protects instead of persecutes. 3 practical takeaways for anyone facing HOA abuse. Document everything obsessively. Verify your property rights through county records and contact your state attorney general's HOA fraud unit. Word spread through the national boating community. I now consult for Marina residents and HOA victims nationwide, helping them build federal cases against systematic harassment. Your turn. Drop your HOA horror story in the comments. Share this with anyone dealing with overreach. Knowledge about federal prosecution options can transform victims into victors. And if you believe no HOA should have the power to destroy people's homes while embezzling community funds, keep watching. The next story is even wilder. Thanks for hanging out with us on HOA Stories, where the HOA Karens meet their match.